Hi, my name is Lynn Burdett and I'm the owner of Prairie Point's Quilt Shop in Ponoka, Alberta. We do things a little differently in here. We don't offer classes like a lot of the other shops do, but we tend to do a lot of 5-minute cutting board classes. And that's where a customer can come in and ask a specific question on a specific problem they're having, and if we have time and the store isn't too busy, we'll stop what we're doing and we'll assist that customer in learning that technique. We feel that way the customer is better to take home that piece of knowledge that they've acquired at that moment, and they're more apt to put it in use than to find yourself slightly overwhelmed with a lot of information that you're just not going to retain. And that is how we do things at Prairie Point's Quilt Shop. Thank you. Today I'm going to be working on doing Applecore. It's a friendship piece. It traditionally has been done by hand for generations, and with the advancement of the new sewing machines, we're actually able to piece it quite nicely. It's just a matter of a little bit of finesse and a little bit of technique, and we're able to get it from point A to point B quite nicely. To make the friendship square, you'll start with the template, and as you can see, it's smooth on one side and it won't adhere to your fabric. So you'll want to put the little true grips on the other side of it so it will actually grip in place. These things come in a little box. You can use every part of it, including all the background. It just sticks to your ruler. It's wonderful to work with. They actually are non-slip. A lot of times when you're making something like a friendship template or using a friendship template to make the Applecore pattern, you will use a charm pack. But in this case today I have a piece of fabric that's just a scrap that I want to clean up. So I want to get it down to about a 5-inch square. So I'm going to start here by just cutting outside of a 5-inch square to get 2 great edges. Turn it around and then come back into it and cut it again to make a perfect 5-inch square, assuming that I'm not using a charm pack. So to cut your friendship template, you stick it in the middle of the square, you hold it in place, and cut around it. And that will give me the first Applecore for my block that I'm going to be making. The simplest way to make this is actually to pin it. We only use 3 pins, unlike some of the other instructions that tell you to pin it quite heavily. We find less is more. So to start with, you're going to want to try to fit this piece into this piece, and you're going to need to find the center. So what we do is we just finger press it in place. So we've got it tent up. Then we want this one to fit into it, so we finger press it in place. So now we have 2 presses that are going to mark the center of each of the curves. So we've got a convex and a concave. We want to put a pin in between the 2 of them, bring this back out to the outer edge, pin it in place, and bring this outer edge out to this and pin it in place. This project is a great way to use up a bunch of scraps, or if you want to come up with a themed piece altogether, then that's where the charm packs come into play. So now that you have your pins, we'll go over to the sewing machine. So we're going to put the needle down at the beginning of the 2 pieces we're putting together. I want to pull this little edge out. Give it a stitch or 2. I'm going to remove my pin. Pull this bottom edge out, and we're just basically going to sew a straight line right down to the center where that center pin is in place. Do a little bit of a wiggle adjustment here. When I get down to my pin, I'm going to remove that. And I'm now going to pivot my block. Again, pulling everything nice and straight and tight. I love this purple thing. For those of us who don't have fingernails, it's an amazing little tool. Come down close to this pin and come off the edge. There's no need to anchor these as the threads will all be buried later. So when you're done and you open it up, it automatically wants to curve the way it needs to curve. You don't have to do any trimming. You can press it. Obviously you want to press it in place. And you make a chain of these, end up putting them together, and we did 144 of these little blocks, made that little quilt up there, and I had a lot of fun making it. And I do thank you for your